Hi. Let me just get this adjusted properly. It's 11 o'clock and it's my birthday today. So I've been going through all these amazing messages from so many of you, and I thank you. Thank you from the very bottom of my heart. It is exciting to me, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's my birthday, and I want to start this particular day with sharing a little bit about myself. If I can get this to stay put, that would be great. Yeah, so Mimi G here, and today is my birthday, and I wanted to talk a little bit about where I'm coming from, and let you get to know a little bit about who I am and why I am who I am, and just fill you in a little bit on the different things that have occurred in my life and have influenced me, because I think that our paths sometimes are very similar, sometimes maybe not in particular circumstances being the same, but anyways, I'm just going to start by saying that I grew up, I was an only child, and my parents divorced when I was really young, and that was a tough thing to go through. In those days, in the 70s, it was really taboo, I guess, to come from a split family like that. When I was going to school, all my friends, their parents were still together. They had a mom and a dad in the house, and I didn't have that. And so, I spent a lot of time feeling sorry for myself. And I had been I'd been born Catholic, and then my mother kind of found a different path spiritually, and the things that were taught on that path were very different from my entire family. All my cousins, everybody was Catholic, and I was not. And I think, I don't know why I'm going into this, but just to say, that when I was a little girl, because my mom and dad were not together, I spent a lot of time praying for them to get back together. And I really wanted God to put my family back together, and I wanted my daddy back. And, I spent so many nights praying and crying and praying and crying. And so I kind of developed the attitude that he wasn't listening, that he wasn't taking any calls from me. And this whole God business really was not for me. And it's funny. It took me a long time to realize that I've kind of developed to a point now where I still believe in God. I still believe in the universe, and the powers in the universe, and the way that everything goes on in life does follow certain laws, and but that has developed over time. It's been a long time building that acknowledgement that I'm not the center of the universe. That's another one. I was an only child, so of course everything was about me, and that's a hard one to shake too. I still struggle with that, but to be able to put myself in other people's shoes and to feel empathy for them, I pride myself on that. I've been through a lot in my life, and I've come out stronger each time. And, this book, Think and Grow Rich, is really demonstrative of that, about the triumph of the human spirit, and that, when you decide that you want to take your life on a certain path, there's going to be hurdles. There's going to be bumps along the road. There's going to be things that discourage you, or that block you from, or seemingly block you from what you're striving to do. But the important thing is to not allow those blocks to block you. Find a way around them, find a way above them, through, whatever you need to do. When you want to do something bad enough, you'll make it happen. If you don't want it bad enough, you're going to find umpteen excuses for why it's not going to work out for you, or it's not, it's not the right time, or it's not, all the stars aren't aligned. My husband likes to use that one. But you know what? It truly is, and I found this to be true in so many aspects of my life. what you think about, you bring about. And what you focus on expands. That's just the way the world works. And, in studying this book, there's a lot of references made to the power of thought. And that, like what we were learning about yesterday was about having that vision, that picture of what you want in your life, what you hope to accomplish, what, who you want to become, so vivid and so real that you can see, smell, taste it, you can feel it, it's so vivid and real that when you think about that, like I was saying yesterday, if you think about that in the morning, if you write that down, if you have a vision board, okay, and I'm going to say if you have a vision board, and I don't have a vision board, but it is top on my list of priorities to get together, because I want to be able to see that every single day. And, I will put a copy of it in both places that I visit numerous times a day, the kitchen and the bathroom. Those are the places I go all the time. And I want to see that. Every time I go in those rooms, I want to be able to see the picture of what I want my life to be like, and have that repetitiveness and that focus be there even when I don't even realize that I need to see it, I think that all those things are instrumental in visualizing where and what you want your life to be. The first story in Think and Grow Rich, when it starts going into the power of thought, is it's the story of a gentleman that wanted to work with Thomas Edison, and didn't want to work for him, didn't want to go to his laboratory and be a minion. He wanted to work with him, partner with him. And, he lived clear across the country. And, initially when he first had that thought, there were a lot of things that were going to be in his way. He didn't have the rail fare to get to where Thomas Edison lived and worked. And, but he had this dream that this is what he wanted to do. And he thought about it until he finally came up with a way. You know what? He couldn't buy the ticket. He grabbed a freight train in order to get there, and showed up in Thomas Edison's office, and, was very young and probably not the best dressed fella that showed up in that laboratory. But he wanted to work with Thomas Edison, and I'm sure Thomas Edison was like, well, I don't even know you, but you can work here. He found him a little job in the laboratory, not doing what he had hoped and prayed for, but it got him around Mr. Edison. It got him in that environment and in that space. And I think that that's so important, when you have a dream and a vision of what you want out of your life, to, take the opportunities that do present themselves to you. It may not come in a wrapping that you thought it would come in. It may not be, exactly the experience that you're thinking, but when you have a dream, when you have a picture in your mind of what you want, the universe finds a way to, move things around in your life. And if you keep your eyes open and your mind open to the endless possibilities, because really opportunities are everywhere, and to be able to see and appreciate the opportunities as they come along and jump on them. And so, further on in the story, he was working in that environment, and it wasn't quite yet working with Edison, but Edison had a device that he had invented, like a dictaphone, and at that time they called it the Ediphone, I think. And the salespeople that Thomas Edison had working for him grumbled, and thought, what is this thing, and who's going to buy that, and we're not going to be able to sell that, and just really had negative attitudes, and really, complaining and very complacent with the opportunity that was right in front of them. And this Barnes fellow was like, I'll sell it. I can sell that. And Edison looked at him and yeah. and he did. And he went and he sold and sold and sold so many that showed up all the sales people that, were supposed to be doing that job. But see, Barnes had a vision of working with Edison, and by proving himself in this instance, with this particular thing, he made a fortune selling these Ediphones, and proved to Edison that he was a valid person to be able to work along with him and be a partner with him. And that's what he wanted. And it took some time, and it didn't happen overnight. And that's the thing that I think a lot of, when I first started and wanting to build a business online, I've said this before, I just want to make money. I am trying to provide for my family. I'm trying to, get involved with something that's going to be rewarding for me and my family. And I tried a number of different things, and for whatever reason I was not successful with them, but I kept trying. I didn't just give up. Oh, this is not for me. A lot of people do that, and that's why a lot of people don't succeed online. But it takes that perseverance and that that clear vision of how you want things to be, in order to, build and grow and learn from the failures, learn from the mistakes along the way, so that you can do something better. And, this book, as I'm reading it, is chock full of stories of people who are trying something and, it didn't work out. Maybe it works for a little bit and then it dries up and then it doesn't work anymore. So, it's about being flexible, and it's about being open to other things that come along that are going to be able to make me better for the next opportunity. Sometimes you don't act on something because, maybe you're fearful. Maybe you think, oh my gosh, I couldn't possibly do that. I used to think I couldn't possibly do a live video, but here I am. And, I'm here because I have you all watching and encouraging me, and I appreciate that, and I love that. So this, the other story is the 3 feet from gold. So we've heard that a lot, actually, when you're in this entrepreneurial space, about people, even in recovery. When I was recovering from drugs and alcohol addiction, we used to say in the rooms, don't leave 5 minutes before the miracle happens, because you just don't know when something is going to be that thing that clicks, and that thing that just changes everything. Sometimes you hear somebody say something and it's like, whoa, you have those aha moments, and you just don't know when that's going to happen. There's a lot of things that I was encouraged to do and read and listen to, and a lot of times, not a lot of times, I guess a lot of times, the message would go right over my head because it just wasn't ready to hear that particular message, or to hear it in that proper way. But you keep going back and you keep listening and you keep hearing it again, and eventually something goes like, what? And I love those moments. And this is why I decided to start doing this Think and Grow Rich, because there's so much value in here. And a lot of time and work went into putting this book together. And even though it was written, just shy of 100 years ago, everything that's in here is still very, very valid today, and we can learn a lot from it. I am going to wrap it up right now, just because today's my birthday and I have a lot of things to do today. But I'm glad that I was able to come on here, and I didn't see anybody join me, but that's okay. If you're watching the replay, just comment replay, and I will shout you out later. And I hope you guys have an absolutely amazing day. And remember, so important what you think about, what you're putting into your brain. Garbage in, garbage out, right? So please focus on what's important, and find something that makes you happy and something that makes you excited, and have that passion and have that excitement go with you throughout your day, and have an awesome one. I'll see you again tomorrow. Mwah. Love you all. Bye.